Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can all hear me okay. If you can, please bang on your keyboard, make some noise, put something in the comment section so I know that you can hear me okay. Today's guest is coming to us live from the Vegas of the UK. In fact, no, he's not coming to us live from the Vegas of the UK. He's coming to us live from the other Vegas of the UK, from the other coast. We do have some technical issues, but that will not be a problem. If we lose him, he will come back in. I can see him there now. But tonight's guest, one of the longest stage shows in the world. I believe it's 32 years. I think that's a world record, definitely a world record for a stage hypnosis show. Yeah, we go. He's popping back in again. Like I said, there's always something technical. There we go. I can see him now. Yeah, so it's a great performer. He bills himself as the most outrageous hypnotist, the original outrageous hypnotist. He is a guy that is very copied by a lot of performers today. He's very outspoken. He's a great guy. He's a true professional. He's been doing this 32 years at the same venue in Blackpool, which takes some absolute doing. For those of you that don't know, many years ago, I spent a lot of time in Blackpool, and Ken's show was everywhere. So he is a definite, a legend within the industry. I'm going to play this little graphic, and then we'll go live to Ken straight after that. So please, there we go, Mr. How are you? We've got some people saying hello already. There we go. So guys, I think he's here. He might not be. Let's just have a quick look. If he's there, he's going live in 3, 2, 1. Oh, he's on the other one. 3, 2, 1. He is live. He is the man, the legend himself, Mr. Ken Webster. How are you?
Technology. It's brilliant, isn't it, Grant? Technology. Just brilliant.
Do you know what? The live streaming especially, because there's so many variables. There's my internet connection, your internet connection, my computer processing, your computer processor, whatever Facebook wants to do. And then in the middle of all that, there's a software that I use to do the streaming, whatever it wants to do. And every single week, without a line, there's always something that's slightly different.
Hopefully we should be all right now because I've moved into the house. So hopefully we'll get better internet connection.
Brilliant. Yeah, I learned a couple of weeks ago, if you play anything on, like I play clips from some people's shows, and if you play anything with any music in whatsoever, Facebook cuts the audio to the feed. So I did a full show a couple of weeks ago where it was just literally me doing this. What was going on. So, yeah, it would be remiss of me to not mention this, COVID. You're probably one of the hardest hit. You're in Blackpool, which is probably the biggest resort in the UK.
I would have thought so, mate. As I said, maybe not the biggest, but certainly the busiest.
Absolutely. I mean, years ago, I used to work in Blackpool in a couple of the clubs there.
Yeah.
And every Saturday afternoon on the promenade, it was like a scene from Walking Dead. It was just, if you've never done it, for those in America and for those that haven't been to Blackpool, it was just waves and waves of people just going past constantly. It's a very busy town.
Yeah.
And very much the epitome of northern humour is Blackpool. So it's a great place. So yeah, so probably one of the hardest hit tourist areas in the UK. You have your show that's been at the Horseshoe Bar. Is it 32 years?
32 years, yeah.
That's about the same age that I've been on this earth. So, how has that been? How have you changed? How is the show now coming out of that? Because you're live again now. Is that true?
Yeah, we're live. We've been live for 3 weeks now. Sold out every week. Obviously, we've got to do the COVID restrictions and the sensible seating and all the rest of it. But we've managed to overcome it. I do an hour. I mean, I normally do 3 hours. I normally do a 3-hour hypnosis show straight through. But now we've had to cut the interval out. I do like an hour Darren Brown stuff to start off with, because to do 2 hours social distancing hypnosis is really tricky. Yeah. So basically, I do an hour's Darren Brown stuff and then an hour hypnosis. But again, all the sketches are all COVID friendly. We keep them all in a bubble on the stage, separate, 2 meters apart. Normally, I'll maybe have 15 people on stage. I'm only allowed 6 now. So, and I'm lucky with the Horseshoe because it's on 3 tiers. So social distancing isn't too bad. We can still get over 200 people in. So, it's not too bad. You've just got to put up and shut up, really, Grant. You just got to get on with it. And I mean, yeah, this year has been a challenge. There's no two ways about it. I wrote a show because I write a new show every year.
Yeah.
And this year I wrote a show ready for March, opening Easter Saturday. I had to scrap that. Then we were going to open up in July. I had to scrap that. And then I got to go ahead to write just an hour's worth of hypnosis. So, you know, it's certainly tested. It's been a testing time, but we managed to do it and we've overcome it. So we've done it.
I think, you know, well, you were just saying then about how you write a new show every year. You know, I think that's probably one of the most important things if you work in a venue regularly. Okay, it might be tourists that, you know, change all the time. But, you know, I think that changing the show every year keeps it fresh. And it's probably, you know, in my opinion, why you've been in the same venue for 32 years. You know, if you were doing the same show for 32 years, there's a good chance either you'd have gone, you know, crazy from boredom, and everybody else would have done that. And I've suffered from this, where you know, you kind of get comfortable in a show and you keep doing it, and to change it, it's that comfort zone. Where do you get your inspiration for new skits from?
Bottles of wine.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, it's really difficult writing new sketches, which annoys me when other hypnotists sit there in the audience with a pen and paper and write your sketches down that you spent ages perfecting. That's quite annoying. If you're going to nick somebody's stuff, then ask them first.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me, can we do the gay aerobics? Yeah, of course you can. You've asked. That's not a problem. You just don't nick it. It's just not respectful, really. But a lot of sketches now are coming from my little girl, Georgie. She's 8 years old, and she came up with a poo collector, which is probably one of the best sketches I've done in 40 years of being in the business. It's really, really funny. She's come out with the Tyrannosaurus Rex during a picnic that wheezes on your head. And she's come out with the cockroach killing when you've got pins and needles in your legs and you've got cramp in one leg. And Georgie is coming up with some really, really good sketches. So hopefully this time next year, she'll write the entire show.
Brilliant. So we've just got a couple of hellos as well. We've got Jason Simmons, who's on the show a couple of weeks ago. He's just said, oh, well, looking forward to the show. Thomas McGowan says hello. So Jason Morgan says good evening both. And Alana Jennings wants to know, do all hypnotists have beards?
Yeah, because I think hypnotists have been in lockdown for that long. You can't be asked to have a shave.
Yeah, pretty much so, yeah.
Oh, you've gone quiet on me, Grant. You've gone quiet on me. And I'm currently waiting to go live.
Let's have a look.
Can
It should still be live. I can hear you.
Again.
There you go. You're still here. I can hear you. Oh, he's gone. He will be back. So if you have any questions as well for Ken, then please drop them in the comment section there, and he will be able to answer it. Ken is back now. 3, 2, 1. There we go.
And you're back in the room.
Back in the room. You say your daughter will give you some good inspiration for skits. By the way, there's something about like those skits, as you said, them instantly funny. And I think that's what works with a lot of hypnosis skits when they are, you know, it's instantly funny and the audience is going to react to that. Whereas I think when people try and copy stuff, they put too much thought into what's going on stage and lose the bit that actually makes it funny. Like when you say poo collector,
sorry, Grant, go on.
No, so then when you instantly said poo collector, nothing can be happening on stage. You can say the words poo collector and instantly it made me chuckle. And I think that's a very good British Northern, you know, not crude humour. It's just funny.
Well, this is it. I mean, you know, you can write if you're a comedian, you can write a gag and you can test that gag out on your family and your friends. And if they think it's funny, they'll tell you. But with a hypnosis sketch, you've got to write it in your head. You've got to imagine how the person will react to it. And that's a really tricky thing. You know, it's like all the outrageous stuff now. You know, I don't do the outrageous stuff like I used to do for the simple reason you can't. You know, and you get these hypnotists, oh, I am the most outrageous. I'm a blue treble X rated comedy hypnotist. There's no point because you won't get any work and you'll get more complaints. So my show is really watered down. I mean, early 90s, late 90s, you could get away with anything. You can't get away with things now because people will find something to take offense to. So now my show really, it's near the knuckle, because of the language I come out with. But The sketches I do are pretty basic sketches, really. You can't do the outrageous stuff, Grant. There is no point in doing the outrageous stuff.
Do you know what? It's kind of some of the points I was going over. I mean, it's the world that we live in now. People are looking for things to get offended over. They're looking for things to cause issues with, and stage hypnosis is an easy target for that. And doing some of that, outrageous material makes us a big target. And we've just about got through the last kind of wave of negative press and stuff, and COVID's happened, and so it'll be interesting coming out of that as people are desperate for work, how they go with their material, if they go for that instant shock type stuff, or whether they do kind of raise the quality. Going back a bit,
instant shock stuff, outrageous stuff, it won't work. It simply doesn't work. I mean, the days of doing the big theatres, I mean, now, the big theatres, they demand too much money to rent the places, and not a lot of them do them in a percentage split. You're gambling too much money, on the big theatres. I used to sell out the Royalty Theatre in Yarmouth, 1,250 seats every Thursday. I used to sell out the Opera House in Scarborough, 1,000 seats, at the drop of a hat. But now, theatre-wise, I think because people have become a lot more cynical, and people can go on the internet and learn how to be a hypnotist for 350 quid. Yeah. Well, you can teach anybody hypnosis in an hour, but being an entertainer is something that you cannot learn. You're born with that. Simple as you're a born entertainer. It's not something you can learn.
Yeah, very true. And I think for me, that's one of, I always kind of say this, for me, one of the worst things for stage hypnotists is people seeing a bad stage hypnotist. They see a show that's not funny or boring and not entertaining. It doesn't matter who the hypnotist is. They're not going to buy tickets to go and see another hypnotist. They tell us all as being shit, and it kills us all. So it's part of the reason behind this podcast is to kind of put out there, get people to meet and speak with professionals at the top of their game to try and raise that bar a little bit. Going back to the beginning, where was the beginning for you? 32 years ago, before you were in Blackpool, who was kind of your mentor? What was your introduction to the world of stage hypnosis? What were you before you were Ken Webster, the original outrageous hypnotist?
Well, I saw a hypnotist when I was 9 at the Opera House in Scarborough, a guy called Robert Halpin. He was just a genius. So from the age of 9, I thought that's what I want to do. I was a cinema projectionist for a while, a drummer in a band for a while. And then I found I got old enough to start doing the hypnosis. I did 4 years. I did hypnotherapy. I did psychology. I did psychiatry. Went over to Spain in 1986 for 2 weeks holiday after doing loads of training courses and stuff. I learned a bit in Glendale, California with a guy called Gil Boyne.
Nice.
And then Oman McGill. So I went to Spain for 2 weeks holiday in 1986. I didn't come home for 3 years. Because somebody said, "What do you do for a living?" Well, I'm just messing about doing hypnosis, and I just stayed out there for 3 years, basically working 7 nights a week. Learned my craft, came back over here, started doing the Opera House in Scarborough for a guy called Peter J. And Peter said 32 years ago, "Look, Lord Payne's retiring from the Pleasure Beach. I might be able to get you a couple of years there." So, brilliant. And that was 32 years ago.
Nice.
So Peter J is the guy I have to thank for my career, because it was Peter that really got me into the big theatres, doing the Royalty Theatre in Yarmouth, the Opera House Theatre at Blackpool. I've done theatre tours for Peter. So Peter J is the guy that I've got to thank for my career, really. He got me started, basically. And people say, "Oh, are you going to do another theatre tour, Ken?" Am I? Bollocks. Not a chance. There's no money in theatres anymore, unfortunately.
There's about 4 I book out, but I 4-wall them. I make no money on them whatsoever, and I use them for kind of promoting a new show or getting video and assets that I can use to promote my show. I know there's a couple of people that are attempting tours, and it's hats off to them. I think stage hypnosis looks great on stage. It's where it should be, rather than in the snooker room of a pub. It's best to be on stage, but you've got to have big balls and big pockets to kind of do a tour. So
you've got to have for the decent theatres, you know, you might do an odd one in a village hall somewhere and make a grand or so. But you know, at the end of the day, it's a lot of money to hire out, and it's a lot of money on your advertising, your publicity.
Yeah.
You know, it's I've been there, seen it, done it, and I don't want to do it again.
Yeah. So you say you're kind of live in Blackpool now. Has the season been extended this year? I know the lights normally finished. If I remember right, it was the last Sunday after bonfire night.
Yeah, we were down for an early finish this year. The lights were finishing early this year, so my last night is the 31st of October. However, Pleasure Beach have asked me to extend into November and into December, which I might do that. I might do it, I might not. I don't know yet. I've not made my mind up. We'll see how the rest of the season goes and see what other crazy regulations Boris comes out with.
Yeah, I must admit, there's a link. The guys that are watching as well, there's a link just put up for the ticket webs, which is where people can get tickets to see your show as well. So there's a link up there for the show. It's in Blackpool, and is it Saturdays?
Yep, Saturday, 8 o'clock. It used to be 8:30, but due to rules and regulations, we have to finish at 10 o'clock. And you know, I mean, it's very COVID friendly. If you stand up, you've got to put a mask on. If you sit down, you're fine. Virus only comes out at 10 o'clock, so you're all right up till then. Crazy world.
Oh, it is at the moment. But do you know what the thing is? As people start to go to see your show, as they start to see other things being put on, it builds their confidence back up again, and we can get back to some kind of normality, which is what everybody wants, really.
Yeah, of course we do.
Yeah, a couple of things as well. You have worked all over the world. You've done some crazy shows, and you've been doing it a long time. What would you say is, and it's a ridiculous question to ask because I know there's lots of crazy things, but what's the standout craziest moment for you on stage? Either in a funny thing that's happened or just just outrageous. If you had to say, what was your one standout moment over the years?
Whoa. When I was doing the working men's club circuit many years ago, it was one of those clubs where they'll have to be off at 9 o'clock because you're playing bingo. And this concert chairman was a right dickhead. So I thought, right, fair enough. They've got to be off at 9 o'clock. They're playing bingo. Right, fine. So I had the people up on stage and I whispered into this bloke's ear off mic. I said, you'll find that when the bingo starts, as soon as the bingo starts, you'll imagine your balls are talking to each other. And the more they talk to each other, louder and louder they become. You've got to shout at your balls to tell them to be quiet. 1, 2, 3, you're wide awake. And that was it, carried on the show. So, right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going now. It's your game of bingo. Thank you very much indeed. I had my roadie with me. I said, pack the stuff up, get it in the car as quickly as you can. So we did that. We got the stuff in. We stood at the door. He's like, right, ladies and gentlemen, eyes down for a game of bingo. And all you heard was this bloke shouting, shut the fuck up. And shouting at us both. And I completely destroyed their game of bingo. Got me money and left.
That's the best way. I once years ago did... there was an interval for bingo. We don't do that anymore. And it was like every time a double number comes out, you believe you've won. Stand up, shout bingo, realise what you've done, sit back down, yada, yada, yada. Which I thought was hilarious. So I'm sat in the change room backstage. Bingo's come on, this has happened. It's being fired off. I'm laughing. People are laughing. They literally came to me halfway through and went, if you don't stop it now, we'll pay you and you can fuck off. And I'm like, wow. And even though it was a great show, they have never booked me back all this time. Kind of like you think, well, do you know what? Sometimes it's not about me. It's not about them. It's about that concert secretary.
I was doing a show at the Manor in Sheffield years ago, 30 years ago. And I said, can I have some volunteers? Nobody. There's jamming. Without the volunteers, I can't do a show. There was about 40 people in the audience. So I said, ladies and gentlemen, you know, without the volunteers, I can't do a show. I said, right. I said, I'll tell you what. And my driver was with me, and the stage door, there was a door at the side of the stage, went straight out to the car park. And I said to my driver, I said, pull the car up at the stage door. Why? And he said, just pull it up. I said, right, ladies and gentlemen. I said, what I want everyone to do is to stand up, interlock your fingers like so, the hand clasp. I said, close your eyes, keep your eyes closed as tightly as you possibly can. So all the audience has stood up, they've got their hands together, they've all got their eyes closed. And now, if you open your eyes, ladies and gentlemen, this is not going to work. It's very, very important you keep your eyelids closed. So, keep your eyes closed. I'm just going to go quiet just for a few seconds. And I pissed off out the side door left and there. I got in the car and pissed off him.
Brilliant. I don't. Any budding stage hypnotist watching this, I wouldn't recommend that.
Funnily enough, I didn't get paid. I don't know why.
Sometimes, you know, when you're in the trenches, sometimes you do turn up at venues and go, it's not worth the money. But you know, yeah.
I had a guy at the Arrows Club in Enfield many years ago. Can I have some volunteers? I had some volunteers. One bloke got up and he must have been late 70s, early 80s. I thought, oh, you're having a laugh. What am I supposed to do with it? So anyway, I hypnotised. Oh, you're on the sun beach, you're getting hot and cold, blah, 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 blah. You got the number 7, you haven't seen your pants, and all the rest of it. And he was really funny. I managed to get away with it. Yeah. About halfway through, I stood in front of him. I said, look at me there, shut your eyes and sleep. And he opened one eye and he went, how am I doing? All right. Brilliant.
Brilliant. And do you know what? I think those shows, the working men's clubs in the great northern towns, where if you shit, they'll happily tell you.
Yeah.
I think that's what's missing from a lot of entertainment today. I think a lot of people see talent shows, a lot of people see YouTube.
Yeah.
Put the two together and go, well, I can go from my bedroom to Broadway in like 2 steps. And you've got, for me, it's the shit shows. It's the shows when you're driving home and you think, do I really want to do this? They're the ones where you actually it tests your mettle as such. So yeah.
Yeah, well, this is it. People getting into the business now, they don't have the working men's clubs are the best training ground anybody could ask for as an entertainer, especially as a hypnotist. But now they don't really exist.
No.
To get into this business, wow. It's really difficult to go out there and ply your trade as a hypnotist just starting out. Really, really tricky. The only places you can do are pubs, and you really don't want to be in pubs.
No. So you got a thing here from Jason Morgan as well. Ken was just like to say thank you for the inspiration. It was you that got me into stage work. I've done my first part of training with your old mate Lynn Bateman.
Oh right, old Lynn Bateman. Yeah, go out to blast from the past.
Yeah. There we go. I'll start taking those tips in the office. Jason Simmons says, brilliant. And Jeff says, shit shows are your learning shows. Absolutely the truth.
Yeah.
If you were to give one bit of advice, we just said then about, people trying to break into this industry or trying to step up the ladder or get better performance-wise, or hypnotherapists that are wanting to do impromptu stuff to increase their exposure to get more clients. If you were to give one tip, something that you wish somebody had told you all those years ago, or something that you were told all those years ago, if you were to get one tip, what would it be?
Don't do it. Yeah. It's like stage hypnosis now. It's a tricky business. Like I said, because the audiences are a lot more cynical now.
Yeah.
Audiences can't concentrate for longer than an hour because you've got Netflix, Amazon Prime. You've got. I was lucky. I was so lucky that I got into the business when I did, because I got the really good years when McKenna was on TV.
Yeah.
Got the good years in the theatres. If you want, I'm semi-retired now anyway. I do Blackpool and the odd corporate stuff. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anymore. I'm quite happy doing that. But getting into the business now, it's so tricky because, like I said before, you can do the working men's and you can learn your trade. You can learn. There's nowhere to actually learn the trade now. And doing hypnosis in pubs, that's not going to be around for much longer. I don't think so. I think that the government and local councils will put a stop to that. But again, pubs aren't what they used to be. Pubs now, if you don't do food in a pub, there's no point. The pubs are dying. The clubs are dying. There's very few venues left for hypnotists.
Yeah.
Very few, and it's such a shame because it is a laugh. It's a great form of entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you were getting into this business, be yourself. Don't copy other people. It's the worst thing you can possibly do, because people look at that and think, oh, he's just copied that off so-and-so. He's copied that off so-and-so. And it's unethical as well. But, all you have to do is sit down and think about people's emotions. That's how I start writing sketches, and I think about emotions. happiness, sadness, embarrassment, switching people's personalities.
Yeah.
That's, you know, you think about the basic emotions and work around that. You know, it's like the poo collector, where somebody, you know, I just get bits of them rubber poos and I drop them on the floor. I make sure somebody picks the poo up, but every bit of poo they pick up, they get more and more annoyed and they get more and more angry because I keep shitting on the stage all the time. or you know, somebody who's up on stage, I'll drop a piece out there. And the person who's doing the poo collector towards the end of the evening is proper fuming, really, really. And that is, you're building somebody up, you know, you're building somebody up into a real crescendo of proper angriness.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, running gags with hypnosis.
Yeah.
Well, you keep a gag running all the way through the show.
I think, yeah, you touched on a point that no one's touched on up until now, and you're absolutely right. I think that having that running gag, having it build up, because each time it gets funnier and the callback's even funnier. And I think a lot of people with inexperience on stage or that are new to it, they'll fire a routine, get the line that they've seen, and then move on from it.
Yeah.
You know, they're not waiting for the funny. It's either hit, it's had a response or not, and then they move on too quick. You know, and it doesn't have a chance to build up. So yeah, absolutely.
That's it. The skill in being a good hypnotist is subject management, and that is an audience management. You manage the audience, you listen to what the audience are laughing at, then you do it again later on when they've forgotten what they've laughed at.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of being an entertainer is psychology, and it's using psychology on people. Because let's face it, I mean, all the stage hypnosis is 3D karaoke. Basically, that's what it is. It's 3D karaoke. And you've got to get the best out of that person. And the only way you can get the best out of that person is understanding psychology. You'll go on stage and say, on the count of three, let me eyes wide awake, and you'll do this. 1, 2, 3, you're wide awake. Oh, yeah, really funny. Sleep. Yeah. On the count of three, you'll do this. On the count of three. And that's not how you become a good hypnotist. You become a good hypnotist by reading the people on stage and getting them to do what I'm asking them to do to the best ability, and making them funny, showing them how to be funny.
Yes, yeah. And I always kind of say it's the bits between the skits that make a show. Yeah. It's the look at the audience. It's the when it looks like something's happened that's never happened before, even though it happens every night. It's that look at the audience that makes them go, oh, something unique is happening. And it's that where I think the magic is. It's why 10 hypnotists can all do the same routine, and 2 can get an absolutely belting response, and it's world class, and the other 8 can do it, and it's just bland. It just doesn't hit the audience right.
Exactly. That's where being an entertainer is something that comes naturally. It's like the old bandana magic trick, you know, the one where you've got a CD played in the background and you've got a bandana and it gets mixed up with the word banana. I mean, there's very few people could make that funny. Graham Grumbleweed could do that so well. Jeremy Beadle was horrendous doing that. Tommy Cooper could do that. So there's certain people, like you say, can do sketches and get away with it and make it funny through their own personality. But again, I can teach somebody to hypnotise somebody in an hour, but I can't teach you to be an entertainer and an ad-libber, because again, hypnosis is just, being a stage hypnotist is just a bit safer than being a lion tamer. You've no idea how many people are going to get up. You've no idea if they're going to be funny. You've no idea how many are going to go under, if anybody goes under. You know, and that when you do I've done a 3-hour show with one person, but I've made it funny.
I was going to say, it's a skill. If there's a few hypnotists that I know that can really master that one person show. It's exhausting for that one person, but if you can get an entertaining show for the audience where they think they've laughed their socks off, that's the job done. Yeah. You know, you can have 15 people on stage and people are just politely laughing, but you can have one on there and the audience is going wild. The audience has had a great night, so that's a success.
Absolutely. I mean, professional hypnotist wise in this country now, Andrew Newton, you know, Andrew, very pro hypnotist, you know, still working as Andrew.
If you know, I mean, you know Andrew, obviously. Would love to have Andrew on the show. I don't know if he would. But I would love to have Andrew on.
He's watching this now, I think. He said he was going to watch it anyway.
Do you know what? He is, I know he's very vocal online, and quite rightly so. He's very pretty.
He's a very, very very intelligent man.
Yes.
Is Andrew Newton, a very intelligent man.
Yeah. I hands down, for me, he owns his stage. He is a phenomenal performer of hypnosis on stage. You know, I've seen him a couple of times, not stolen any material off him. Seen him a couple
I get more laughs.
Yeah.
They love me saying that.
Yeah. I think the last time Andrew had an interaction with me online, he said, "What was it? If that vagina on your chin makes you think you're unique, Grant, you can fuck off." So that's what I'm going to be.
He is very vocal, he's Andrew. And the thing is, I agree with absolutely everything he says.
Yeah.
You know, there was one knobhead went to City Varieties Leeds. I can't remember his name now, but he went in with a T-shirt on saying, "Trust me, I'm a hypnotist." Seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and Andrew doesn't like other hypnotists going to see his shows,
No.
which is understandable, which is fair enough, you know, because there's so many people out there will just rip you off. But, you know, I suppose that's part of the game, really.
There's a lot of people at whatever level that they're at in the game that think that they want kind of fame by association. I know you've suffered from it from other hypnotists hypnotizing people in the foyer of your show. You know, not wanting to open that can of worms. That was like the internet in there, which is frustrating and not needed to have been done. And you know,
unprofessional and disrespectful. But if that's the type of person they are, then good luck to them.
Exactly. And there's a lot of hypnotists that I know. I know there's a group of hypnotists that every year come down to Blackpool to come and see your show, you know, and
there was one of them, I can't remember his name now, there was one of them had a video camera hidden in a menu filming my show. And I let him film it right until the end. And then I got the doorman to remove the memory card from his camera and placed it in my pint of Guinness.
Wow.
And then showed him up. You know, you don't do that. You don't do that, Grant. You know, if you can't think of your own sketches, you shouldn't be in the business. Simple as that.
And it's exactly what you said. You know, if they contacted you and said, "I've seen this, I really like it, I want to make it my own," you know, that's if you're wanting to be in the industry long term, that's the professional thing to do.
Exactly. You know? And then, you know, if people do that and they want help and they want advice, I'll give them help and I'll give them advice.
Yeah.
You know, not a problem at all. But yeah, if you just rang me up and say, "Oh, well, I like the drink driving sketch, I like the gay aerobics, I like the lap dance sketch, I like this," which I know I wrote all myself. I'd say, "Do you mind if I use that, Ken?" Of course I don't. Just give it a few tweaks and make it your own. But you've had the decency to ask me, you know, and then you're always on board to help them. And the thing is, it's a very, very close community, the hypnosis community. So Andrew will say to me, "What do you think about so-and-so?" And I'll say, "Stay away, knobhead." "What do you think about so-and-so?" "Lovely fella, not a problem at all." You know, it's a very close-knit community amongst the long-standing stage hypnotists in this country. And we'll help anybody out, but just give people respect.
And I think that's it. I think for our industry to survive, it has got to be about quality, has got to be about production. And like the Horseshoe Theatre Bar, I see you've got all your branding across the back of that stage. It's an iconic looking stage. And I think that's the type of thing that stage hypnosis needs, is that production, is better quality and good people promoting it in a positive way out there. Because there's lots of people that have no idea what hypnosis is now, let alone
they haven't.
Stage hypnosis. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing the theatres, I would have a big theatre set, you know, it would be like a truck full of set. It would take 4 hours to set all the stage set up instead of just having 12 chairs on the stage.
So we just had a comment here as well saying, "Very real conversation here. Love it that there's no bullshit." So, it's because we're Northerners. So yeah, Jason Nobby Morgan, unique. Not many hypno shows see you a lunatic run towards you with a chainsaw. Brilliant. One of the things, again, for our American cousins that might be watching the show, if people don't know, I believe you are the president of the Federation of Ethical Stage Hypnotists?
I was the chairman of the Federation of Ethical Stage Hypnotists for about 10 years. And I've given that over now to a guy called Alan Bates. So Alan's now the chairman. I'm still on the board of the Federation of Medical Stage Hypnotists, but 10 years, give somebody else a chance. Give somebody else a chance. That's it.
How is Fesh doing at the moment? I know that back in the day when everything was going terrible for stage hypnotists, Fesh were very much at the forefront fighting for its members. Is that still the case at the moment?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Fesh was started by Peter Casson. Peter Casson and I did not see eye to eye in any way, shape, or form. He hated me. Because I started to become all right, quite successful, and he didn't like it. Towards the end, just before Peter died, we got on really, really well because he realised that I was here to stay, and I was doing a good job, and I was bringing people in, and I got on really well with Peter towards the end before his death, bless him. But I mean, he was one of the most successful hypnotists this country has ever had. But there's very few people have made really good money, really good money. And Peter was one of them. Andrew Newton's another one. Peter Powers is another one. Myself, I've done all right. But there's very few have made, really good money, a really good career out of it.
Yeah. I suppose it's the same as anything. You've got to have the passion for it. You've got to have the love for it. You've got to want to see it grow and evolve because, like you said, shows 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago, the material has moved on so much from that.
Oh, big. Some of the stuff I used to do like 20, 30 years ago, you wouldn't get away with that now. And that's why I don't bill myself really anymore as the world's most outrageous hypnotist. I used to do because it used to bring people in.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't bring people because people are just offended by the slightest thing. So now, you've got to move with the times. You've got to move with the times. And if you don't move with the time, I had a conversation in the dressing room a couple of years ago by a very well-known stage hypnotist, which I've actually become quite friendly with now. Him and I were arch enemies at one point, but we've become quite friendly. And he was one that was, I am the most outrageous, disgusting, filthy hypnotist. I can do this and I'll do that. And I had this conversation with him and said, look, it's dead, that side of stage hypnosis. And we get on quite well now. We get on quite well.
Is he a fellow Northerner by any chance?
He certainly is.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean then.
But he's a clever lad. He's a really clever lad. But
everybody knows who he is.
Down the wrong path. I cashed in on it when Chubby was really, really popular. That's when I was really popular doing the outrageous stuff. And you could get away with all sorts of shit then.
Yeah.
But you can't do it now. So being outrageous and over the top and treble X rated and this is disgusting, pointless. You get more complaints than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. I always ask people for 2 books that they would recommend, either something to do with performance or something that's either inspired you or is an essential reading that you think, has either helped you on a personal level, a professional level, on a stage level. But two books.
Hypnotherapy by Dave Ellman.
Of course.
Bangler and Grinder, NLP, Frogs in the Princes books, Orman McGill's Professional Stage Hypnotist, Hypnotism book, which is actually, when you read it now,
Yeah, I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. It's the book. It's the book that everybody says, and do you know what? It's only certain people of a certain level that have kind of gone, that's the book. But when you read it now, it's shit, and you've got to go back to it and go, no, never worked.
Another one is The Art of Stage Hypnosis by Professor Leonardis.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's got pictures of people with sparks coming out their eyes.
Wait, that's my next poster, is that?
It's total crap.
One of the things you've always done as well, just talking about posters, and again, it's within the stage hypnosis community. To be fair, I'll go out. I'm actually really enjoying this conversation. Within the stage hypnosis community, there's always been a lot of serial killers and migraines when it comes to posters that hypnotists put out there. Your posters have always been really kind of eye-catching and iconic. Like I say, years ago, I was in Blackpool for a few years, and you'd go down the promenade and you'd see your big posters. I remember the Heaven and Hell type poster you did a few years back, you know, and yeah, back in the days of Heaven and Hell. Do you think that, how important do you think that poster is in getting people through the door in a social media age?
Yeah, I mean, social media, yeah, you know, it is good for advertising, but not everybody is on social media, you know, so people do want posters. When I used to do loads of press interviews and stuff, it's like, right, can we have a photograph? Can you go like this? No, I can't go like this. Can you hold a watch? No, I can't hold a watch. They are the worst possible people, and like hypnotists like that.
Hey, that's me. That's me.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That is wrong on every level. Putting your thumbs up to the camera like that. And like I say, all this look into my eyes, mysterious stuff, it's all bollocks. To me, that's just my own personal, you know. I mean, I see that shite you've got behind you, Grant.
Spirals in the eyes.
Spirals in your eyes.
You can't be hypnotist without spirals in your eyes. You'll change them to sparks next.
See, that would be better if there was like a brain, you know, a picture of a brain in your eyes rather than things. But that's just me. But my posters have always just been, they've always been every year is a different poster. I've got that many posters now, but every year is a different poster. You know, never stick to the same poster. Always change it every year.
I think it was Matt Hale, Australia, was kind of saying, by doing a different poster, you're letting the audience know that it's a new show.
Yeah.
You're letting them know what to expect. So, yeah, it's great for that. So we've just got a long question from Darren Cook, so it won't all appear on the screen, so I'll read it out to you. It says, hi, Ken. I've been a kids entertainer for 20 years. I've been doing hypnosis shows for the last 2 or 3 years. A big part of how I improvised in kid parties I use in my kids shows. Have you been such an inspiration for me in learning hypnosis? I was also trained by Kevin, who passed on so much of your knowledge. I now live and breathe hypnosis, and every bit of advice experienced from legends like yourself, I'll be forever grateful. Thank you, Darren Cook. Cookie the Hypnotist.
You're welcome, mate. No problem. Yeah, you know, it's glad that you are an inspiration. You know, it's nice that people like your work. It's nice that people, you know, keep coming to see me, and you know, it's nice to know that I'm sort of helping people in a roundabout way, really.
Yeah. So it's been brilliant. I always find it quite funny as well. Maybe 2 seasons after you've finished with a poster, it kind of makes its way, or a nod to one of your posters always makes its way onto the circuit with other hypnotists that kind of go, he's not using that poster anymore. We can now use it. Yeah. But it's a sign of, if people like what you do, they are gonna. It's on what level do they copy you at? Do they do it where it's just?
I've had people. You know, I've always been known for sort of loud suits and different suits. I've even had hypnotists copy the way I dress on stage.
Yes.
Like, really, seriously.
Yeah.
My catchphrase was always "shit up, nice one." People even nicking that. It's like, you know, it's like, well, you know, you don't know what to say really. You just think you really are sad individuals when you have to steal the way somebody dresses, steal somebody's catchphrase, and the mannerisms on stage. It's like, that's just pathetic. But none of these people have ever got anywhere. So, you know, that was the thing with Andrew and Paul McKenna. You know, I mean, I know them both. That was tricky because Paul, you know, sort of mirrored himself a little bit on Andrew, shall we say. I'm not getting into any legalities anyway.
I was going to say that was for you. That was really well put.
Yeah, you know, and I know there was a big legal wrangle, big legal wrangles and stuff, you know. But I'm not saying that he copied him word for word, but sort of mirrored bits of his show, shall we say, you know, which is a shame. You know, but when you get people, you know, copying what you do, what you say, and how you dress. Oh, have they got pictures of me on the walls sat there having a wank? You know
Quite possibly. Christina Lennon says she's seen 3 hypnotists perform, and one of them was Ken back in the 90s. So there you go.
And I know your uncle extremely well. He was one of my very, very, very close friends in this business, Hugh Lennon. and Hugh was a fantastic hypnotist and a really good
Great
friend.
guy.
And give Hugh my regards, Christina.
Brilliant. Well, Ken, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to put the link back up again as well for people who can get tickets to go and see your show. You know, I would love to actually, do you know, it's one of these things I've always said, I've never seen your show because I always know that you hate people that come and see your show and steal material. So I've always said throughout my career, I've never seen Ken's show. But
Well, I don't mind if you come back.
You know what?
Have a chat. Have a natter.
Blackpool, I think they'll let me back in now. It'd be good to catch up with you in person. And yeah,
are you still doing Mackey's?
Yes, when it opens back up again.
Yeah, I did Mackey's for I don't know, 15 years, something like that.
It's a great venue. It's only a small stage. The team there are wonderful, especially if they're watching. Love you guys. But it's. I mean, I love the holiday parks. It's nice.
You're really treading carefully here, guys.
Yeah.
You're really being careful about what you say about the audiences. Go on. I want to see you get yourself out of this.
No, I mean, Mackey's especially, it's a great audience, but it's the nice clean shows. It's a family friendly show, and like you said, it's when you work a family friendly show, you can work anywhere, if you know what I mean. So, and because kids are unforgiving. If kids have got the attention span of that, if you've not got them, they're off and they're playing games and they're doing whatever else. And yeah.
I feel your pain.
Brilliant.
I had some good nights at Mackey's, and I love Stavros to bits. You know, Stavros is a fantastic fella.
Really is.
But some of the audiences, what do you do for a living? Nout. Oh, where are you from? Barnsley. What do you do for a living? I'm a drug dealer. Where are you from? Leeds. What do you do for a living? Fuck all.
I must admit, the Mackey's audience do tend to be from very Yorkshire. It's very Barnsley, very Leeds.
Yeah.
And they're places that I don't get bookings in Barnsley or Leeds. I'm very rarely at home. Mackey's is probably one of the closest ones to me. Everything else is Bristol, Scotland, miles away. So it's nice to be local and see the local people.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a really posh park I do down south, and they spent £4 million doing it up. And the first season they got a group of travellers in, and it made the national newspapers, and it destroyed the park. And you look at it, and it was a beautiful place. It made Centre Parks look like terrible. This place was just stunning, and it got destroyed. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I love holiday parks.
If you're starting out in this business, one of the best venues to start off with is Pontins. You go work in Pontins. Oh, fuck me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is hard. That is really hard.
Yeah, some of the bigger park weekenders, they can be hard work.
Especially when you get the people in there that have got a voucher from the Sun and they've got like a week's holiday for £1.
Yeah, nice holiday. Can of Red Stripe, Buffalo away. Brilliant. It's been great to catch up with you. Like I say, hopefully, if Andrew would love to come on, and
I'll speak to him tomorrow.
Love to have him as a guest. He is a power force, and he is a great stage hypnotist.
He's a great hypnotist, absolutely brilliant hypnotist. Yeah. The thing about Andrew is, he's been in the business a lot of years.
Yeah,
he knows the ropes.
Yeah,
he's a very, very clever man.
Yeah,
and I have never nicked anything off Andrew because he's fuck all worth nicking. That's just friendly banter.
Exactly. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for this. Again, I'll put a link up to the tickets. This will go up on YouTube as well, and I'll put a link to the tickets up there as well. But obviously, at the end of the season, I think that link will expire, so I'll take it down then. But good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, I'll get down one night and come and see you as well. I'll not bring a camera or a notepad I'll just come and enjoy the show. And thank you.
If there's any American people out there or anybody who wants it, if you go to stream15.com, which is stream as in a stream, and 15, the number 15, stream15.com, all my DVDs are on there for you to download and watch at home on your TV, your tablets, or any device.
Brilliant. Well, stream15.com. I'll make sure that is in the description on YouTube as well. So that's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much for coming on. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've got another great hypnotist next week as well. And thank you very much. David Knight.
Oh, right. Yeah. David Knight.
So David Knight came to a Masonic lodge I was at years ago. And it's quite funny. He hypnotized my wife and told her that she was, bear in mind, this is a Freemasons charity dinner. And he hypnotized my wife and told her she was the world's greatest lap dancer. That was interesting.
Brilliant.
All right, thank you very much. Take care, buddy.
Cheers, buddy. Take care.
See you later. Bye-bye.